The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Exploring the Unknown with Rebecca and Shay. Taking stories from today's news, Rebecca and Shay will explore everything from the paranormal, supernatural, the strange and unusual, unsolved mysteries, and more. Join them as they delve deep into the unknown and mysterious. Taken from news headlines. Water cooler chat with a paranormal twist. Only on Paranormal Buzz Radio. Hey Rebecca, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Shay?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about two awesome topics: royals and ghosts.
I know, castles and ghosts, I think, is like our favorite topic.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. And we're not going to have too much small chit-chat in the beginning today because we have a lot to talk about. So you want to get right into it?
Yep, let's go.
All right.
This article is from the Sun, and it says the Queen is sharing Windsor Castle with 25 ghosts during her lockdown, including one she's claimed to have seen herself. I think all of us as paranormal investigators want to be locked down in Windsor Castle.
Right? Wouldn't that be awesome?
I know, right? I'm thinking, shoot, lock me down.
It'd be awesome just to go in there. Never mind lockdown, but...
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Just, yeah.
Oh.
So this article is from, it says May 20th of 2020. The Queen is currently in lockdown at Windsor Castle with Prince Philip, but they might have some spooky guests joining them. It's said that Windsor Castle is the most haunted in all of Her Majesty's royal residences, with as many as 25 ghosts reported to have been seen. The Queen, along with her sister Margaret, even claims to have seen one herself, the ghost of Elizabeth I. According to Visit Britain, it is claimed that the ghostly figure of Elizabeth I is often seen in the library, and her footsteps can be heard on the bare floorboards before her striking presence appears. Another ghost that it is said to inhabit the famous castle is George III. He has allegedly been witnessed looking longingly out of the room beneath the library where he was confined during several periods of madness.
Madness.
Madness, yes. That, yeah.
That's
and I think we have like a lot of locations where like insane people seem to have ghosts become ghosts later on.
Yeah.
You know, like all the insane asylums and stuff.
Yeah. Or I don't know why they go back to these horrible places. Not this one in particular, but I mean like insane asylums, if it's just because it's the only thing they ever knew.
Right, or maybe their minds just can't escape that.
Yeah.
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 Another ghost that is said to haunt the castle is Henry III, who has been heard hobbling around in the deanery cloisters. It is said you can sometimes hear the sound of his ulcerated leg thudding on the floor as he walks. Meanwhile, in the grounds of Windsor Great Park, it has been said that you can sometimes spot the ghost of Henry, who was a huntsman for Richard III. You might want to steer clear of this particular spooky figure, as it is said that those who gaze upon him will be struck by misfortune. Yeah, we don't want to see that one.
Nope, I'll pass.
The Queen may also need to watch her back at Buckingham Palace, which is said to be inhabited by the spirit of a monk who died in a punishment cell when a monastery stood on the site. The monarch is currently locked down at Windsor Castle with 22 members of staff and what a top aide has dubbed HMS Bubble. Courtiers moved Her Majesty, age 94, to Windsor from Buckingham Palace to see out the pandemic in safety with Prince Philip, age 98. Prince Philip was flown from Sandringham, where the lockdown began. The couple, who have been married 72 years, are being looked after by their favorite servants.
Okay, I have a question before we go on.
Yeah.
I never understood this.
Okay.
If she's the queen and they're married, how come he's called prince, not king?
Because he's not ruling. Have you ever watched The Crown?
No.
Oh gosh, I love watching The Crown.
Would that explain it to me?
Yeah, it would. The Crown starts with Queen Elizabeth becoming queen, and really kind of explains a lot about the whole thing.
All right, maybe I'll have to check. I just never understood that because, like, in other countries, if the king gets married, the woman becomes queen.
Yeah, and I'm not an expert. I mean, I watched The Crown.
And they say
Kate.
They say Kate's going to be the queen.
Yes. I mean, they gave him a title, but he's not actually king because he's not ruling. You can only be king if you are ruling. So if they gave him a title of king, then that would act like he's ruling. But since the queen is in charge, I don't know. People might argue with me on that, but that's the way I understood it from watching The Crown on Netflix. So,
all right. So if you guys are as confused about it as I am, I guess we have to watch The Crown.
It's really interesting. But anyway, I kind of like that sort of thing. But
okay.
I don't think watching The Crown makes me an expert, though.
Hey, maybe.
Maybe. An insider said her senior staff, including her private secretary, Sir Edward Young, and his assistants, have all moved into the castle. They won't be seeing their families because no risk can be taken, and they can't go in and out. The most important thing is to protect the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh from the virus. If something happened to them, it doesn't bear thinking about. Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting article. I like the idea of being locked down in a big castle with ghosts.
I would just love to see it. I really would.
Right?
I really would just love to see it.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I don't know if this is true, but the title under the next one says, Queen may never return to royal duties as she won't be safe in public for years due to the coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, look at her age, though.
I know. She looks better than me.
She looks amazing. And, think of all that she does at 94. It's impressive. Really.
It's crazy.
It is. So, yeah, I can see why they're being extra cautious with her because, Queen.
You have to be. So they see all royalty except one monk. Does that mean the servants and visitors, nobody else ever goes in there, or they only choose to talk about the more famous royalty ghosts?
I don't know. I think, there was that huntsman, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Right. I think it's probably like one of those locations where there are so many famous people there that they assume that only the famous people are ghosts.
Probably.
I mean, I think that's something that, like a lot of locations, like, the Winchester Mystery House, you assume it's Sarah Winchester or, and they don't think about, other things like the land, like they talk here with the monk that was on the land before the house. Yep.
I'm impressed they brought that up because most places don't.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that to me I'm glad they brought that up because a lot of people don't think about the land that was there before their location was built.
Yep. And we also have to take into consideration that, just for the record, the sun is what the sun, I believe, would be compared to our tabloids here. It's
I think so.
It's one of the better ones, I think, but
right, exactly. Yeah, I think so too. But I've heard other stories about Windsor Castle being haunted before. Yes. So, I mean, that's not like the first one. I think they're just kind of like throwing the idea out there that, hey, did you know she's locked up with ghosts?
Right. Yeah, of course. We have to do that. So I just found one. It's from mylondon.news. No idea what that is, people, but this one is from February 11th, 2020. I just clicked on the 2021. So, Kensington Palace, haunted by ghosts with disease, phantom, and Prince Louis nursery. Kensington Palace, the home of the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge and their 3 children, is said to be haunted by former residents. After the news of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepping down as senior royals, you'd think the Duke and the Duchess of Cambridge had reached the peak of their issues. But it has been said that their West London home is among one of the many royal residences haunted by former inhabitants. Former inhabitants. Is that the word?
Inhabitants, yeah.
That's a word, okay. Haunted by former inhabitants. In fact, apartment 1A, where Prince William and Kate Middleton live with their 3 children, Prince George, Prince Louis, and Princess Charlotte, is said to be the most haunted part of the entire palace. The historical place where Queen Victoria was born and raised in her early years is said to be frequently visited by the ghost of her aunt, Princess Sophia. After being blind for 11 years, the princess suffered an illness that led to her death in 1848 in the Kensington Palace. Prior to this, though, Sophia was a talented seamstress in her youth, and it was said she spent much of her time on her spinning wheel before her death. After she died, the story emerged that members of the staff could hear her spinning wheel in action as they worked. To add to this legend, in the 1970s, a housekeeper is said to have caught a glimpse of an elderly woman wearing a gown typical of the era Sophie lived in. Nothing quite screams scary like haunted children's play areas. So, of course, Kensington Palace made sure to get one of those too. Prince Louis' nursery is also said to be haunted by a character of the completely normal name, Peter the Wild Boy.
Totally normal?
Totally normal. Totally normal.
Totally normal.
During the days of King George II, a man named Peter was found by the king walking the narrow hallways of the palace. It's said that Peter had a rare disease called Pitt-Hopkins that is characterized by severe facial abnormalities. After Peter died in the palace, it is said that he haunts the king's staircase to this day.
Huh.
This one goes on and on. Do you want me to keep going, or is that enough of it?
Well, we could pause and talk about it a little bit, and then go back to it.
Good. My eyes are starting to.
So yeah, that's just they just found him wandering the halls.
Yeah.
They don't know where that came from him.
That's what it says.
I guess security with a little accent.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They had to start upping right? It at that time.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's a next series called Victoria that talks about the reign of Queen Victoria. So, so that Sophie character, I think she's in that. I don't know. Anyway,
I haven't seen that. I've heard of that one though. Haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's one of those ones that's like a visual, pretty to watch movie.
Aww.
So, yeah, but again, it helps describe the reign of Queen Victoria a little bit better. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I liked about The Crown. It really kind of
put it all together.
It made a little more sense, and it's like, oh, okay, I see why this is going on.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. So, all right. So, let's see. You can tell why I don't like reading out loud. After the lines get messed up, Spookiest of all the ghost stories has to be that King George II, who died in 1760, towards the end of his reign. Britain was neck deep in the 7-Year War, which is regarded as the first true war. And because of this, it said his spirit hangs around the palace crying, "Why won't they come?" By this referring to why he hadn't yet heard from the troops. It said that his very last words were, "Why won't they come?"
All right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Imagine being dead and have to keep repeating your last words.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, when they talk about ghosts with unfinished business, that would be one with unfinished business.
Or residual.
Yeah, or true, residual too.
Could be. My last words will be, "What the fuck?"
I know, right?
Something with the word fuck in it. We all know it. You guys were thinking it. We all know it.
Right, yeah, or, oh crap.
Yeah, it's going to be something. All right, let's see. We're almost done.
Okay.
Unfortunately for the royals, Kensington Palace isn't the only royal resident at threat of hauntings. It has been said that the Hampton Court Palace in Richmond, the former home of Henry VIII, is haunted by the ghosts of people killed in the Civil War. Thankfully, though, Kensington Palace Gardens and Hampton Court Palace remain places that the public visit and don't actually live in. So any serious ghostly encounters will have to be handled by the Duke and Duchess and company. So, well, it's got rich layers of history on the land and in the buildings themselves, but before the buildings and...
Right. I mean, I just think about those buildings they've been there for such a long time, and they also have like these really charged events that happen there. You know, these important emotionally charged events.
Yep.
You know, like the war. You know, they waiting for the people to come back, and you know, I mean, just thinking about all of those type of events that have taken place in that castle is, I think, makes for a very active location. Yes,
and they're old, so the building material, probably castles, you know, I'm sure it has, you're going to have to help me here because I can't think. Older stuff were built with, like, limestone, like, you know.
Oh, yeah, so limestone blocks, lots and lots of wood. Stuff that holds energy, you know.
And a lot of these people either grew up there or spent the majority of their life in these places. So I can see.
Right. Exactly.
I can see it.
So yeah, that's one of those places I want to investigate.
Oh, yeah. You think they'll let us in?
They might. And now I know a lot of them do like public tours and things. So
we could just sneak some equipment.
Right? Exactly. Let me in the building.
Yeah. Because I
think like the Windsor Mystery House. I don't think they really do ghost investigations, but you can go through for a tour.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. On that note, our time is up since it's supposed to be a 20-minute show, and we usually go over because we have so much fun. So, I like this story, though. These stories.
I did like this story. Both of these stories. I think I think this is like a really neat area to investigate.
Oh, yeah.
I like hearing the ghost stories from the castles. It's awesome.
I know. I can't wait to hear your stories when you come back from overseas.
I know, me too. Me too. So thanks everybody for listening. And if you want to talk about this more, go to the Facebook group, Exploring the Unknown with Rebecca and Shay, and we can talk about it some more. Or if you have an article that you want us to talk about, share it in the Facebook group, and then we'll read it on air and give you a special shout out.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, guys.